Hi, welcome back to Life Skills. We just love coming to you every week and try to give you some inspiration or some ideas. And this week we're going to let you meet Geoff Kirkpatrick. He's on our board. He's also in charge of the livability team down at the city. And I have to tell you, that team is an amazing group of people. When I first heard about the idea about the livability team and I heard what it was going to cost to have this team, I thought, well, that's a waste of money. Why don't we just get people off the Greenway? But the more I got to meet the people that Chief Clausen had picked for this team, I began to realize why he was doing what he's doing. These are amazing people that have the right heart. And they have been really a major asset for our Kelly shelter, and they've been a major asset for our campground. And we just couldn't operate without them. And it just feels like we're a team. What I want to share with you folks that you're part of Rogue Retreat's participant group. Sometimes the police haven't always been your friend, and maybe you've been running the wrong direction. And a lot of our staff who used to be heading in the wrong direction in life now turned around. They talk about how the police knew them really well, but now what we find is that as people are making better choices and doing that 180-degree turn in life and totally going in a different direction, we're finding that the police often come alongside and really encourage them. We had one of our staff not too long ago had to go to a court situation and it didn't really look good, and the livability team actually came in and sat in the courtroom and talked to the judge and said, we believe in this person, and because of their help this person was actually forgiven for some things and didn't have to pay some penalties that they were facing. And so it's really a big deal to work closely with the police here in this town. They love Rogue Retreat. They love you and what you're accomplishing at Rogue Retreat, and they'll support us in that. And we just want to encourage you this week, keep making the right choices, go in the right direction, and you're going to find there's a lot of people that are going to help you get where you want to go. Anyway, we'll see you again next week.
Hey, so my name is Geoff Kirkpatrick. I'm a sergeant with the Medford Police Department. I am currently part of my role is managing and leading the Medford Police Department's livability team. So our livability team is part of a division of the Medford Police Department, which is called the Community Engagement Division, and the whole role of that division is kind of like our community service officers, our code enforcement, our traffic team, and some other things. And then our livability team was folded into that community engagement division about a year and a half ago. So when the livability team was created, let's talk about kind of what it is. The livability team is a group of 3 officers and then a police corporal and then a community service officer whose job it is to interact with our unsheltered homeless population. The kind of their goals, I mean, because we are a law enforcement agency. I mean, I still wear a badge on my uniform. Because we are a law enforcement agency, there is an aspect of law enforcement and the enforcement of our current laws and so on and so forth that does happen. That's not necessarily our only or main focus. I would say that that's probably less of a focus for us than the relationship building with our unsheltered homeless population. That's what our main goal is to really get out there, develop relationships with our community, develop relationships with those people that sometimes I bet have felt ostracized from the rest of the community for quite some time, or have felt picked on by the police, or felt like they have been targeted by the police over the years. And that's not what we're trying to do. We're trying to build relationships. Now, there may be an enforcement aspect to that. I think that it's important that people understand that simply because we are trying to form these relationships and trying to get people into a better situation, that doesn't mean that we're necessarily looking the other way on violations of the law. We're still charged with making sure that people are compliant with that. And one thing that we've found is that as a police agency and as a police officer, it usually gives us the ability to be like, okay, look, I'm not going to cite you for this particular thing, as long as you're showing me that you are doing step 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 towards improving your situation, right? And holding yourself accountable for that. So sometimes we use enforcement in that capacity, or sometimes there are a lot of people who are really hesitant to accept the services that we offer, or for instance, we try to get people into the campground, or we try to get people into the Kelly shelter or the Mission or some other temporary transitional living places, and they don't want to go but they still want to continue the behavior that has got us there in the first place. And so sometimes it takes a little bit of that enforcement before people realize, okay, I really don't want to get ticketed or go to jail anymore. I'd rather take this step. And I think that works that way with everything. Sometimes people get tired of it being hard and decide, hey, look, I'm going to take this other route. So sometimes we do use that. So we do work in an enforcement capacity, but the main objective for the livability team is to develop that relationship with our unsheltered homeless population, and then to work towards improving the downtown area, the greenway, and work towards those people that are living there in that community to work out of that situation. So that's a lot of what our livability team does. If you see them, they are very veteran, very skilled police officers to begin with. They've all been cops for a very long time, some of them longer than me. And they're all very good at what they do in a police officer role, but they're also very empathetic. They are the people who care about that community. That's why they're chosen for that position. So if you see them, talk to them like that. They're human beings, right? Us police officers, at the end of the day, you know, when I go home at night, this vest comes off and this uniform comes off, and I am still a member of the community. We're just human beings. We're just people charged with a particular function, but we're just people, right? We live in this community as well. We pay taxes in the community, and we shop here. We raise our children here. Our kids go to school here, and we interact with our community. And so talk to us like human beings, and we will absolutely do the same thing. And hopefully we're doing that on the front end, talking to you as a human being, and then looking for that in return. So that is that's kind of the basic rundown of what our livability team is. It's something that's really working towards improving the livability standards. That we saw some problems occurring in our downtown area and on our greenway, and we continue to see that right now, especially with this pandemic and this difficult time that we're going through, where our unsheltered homeless population is growing right now. It's currently growing, and we're watching that on a daily, weekly basis. So we're out there. We work for you. We work for the community. We work for the folks living in the areas surrounding the greenway, the folks living or working in the areas around downtown, but we also work for our homeless population. So that's why we do it. We care about our community. We care about you. We care about the human race in general, and that's why we put this uniform on. It's not a power trip. It's something that we do because we believe in it. And we believe that there is a function for us to help society be better. And that's really where we're coming from. The best way to get a hold of us is through our dispatch center, right? Our dispatch center, which is not actually a part of the Medford Police Department. It's its own entity that we contract with. We contract with, the Sheriff's Department contracts with, Phoenix PD contracts with. You call our dispatch center and you can ask for a livability team officer, and one of us, they'll get a hold of one of us. We typically work during the week, the Monday through Friday. If you're looking for us on the weekend, you could definitely leave us a message and we'll get back to you as soon as you can. The number for our dispatch is 541-770-4783, and that's the public line to the dispatch center, which is the best way to get a hold of a livability team officer. One of the things that we identified really early as a team, because this was a brand new concept, there's some other police departments that have something sort of similar, but this was a brand new concept, at least in our valley and specifically to the Medford Police Department, to have a team of people doing this specifically, and especially the outreach part of it and the relationship building part of it was a kind of a newer concept to have a team dedicated to that. When we started developing relationships with all these nonprofit organizations and these people who do wraparound services and case management and housing. And one of the things that we found is that we really liked Rogue Retreat. And they rose, they were the cream that rose to the top immediately in the organizations that we worked with because of their leadership and because of their mission and their goals, all right, of giving a hand up and not a hand out, and they were working towards an end state. And that really resonated with us. And so we developed this relationship with Rogue Retreat. which started with us working really hand in hand with the Kelly Shelter and the Clean Sweeps program and so on and so forth. And then when this opportunity for the urban campground came up, and Rogue Retreat absolutely stepped up to the plate to fill that void, we were tasked with doing the referral process for that campground, and mainly because the Livability Team is on the Greenway and in our parks and in constant contact with our unsheltered homeless population. That's their job. That's what they do 40 hours a week, is they have contact with people. And so they know a little bit of a baseline of, okay, is this person a good fit for the campground? Are they going to cause problems? Are they not going to cause problems? Do they have some medical needs that may need to be met before we get to the campground stage? And so we were tasked with being the referral source, the sole referral source for the temporary urban campground. And that relationship has been really, really good between the Livability Team and Rogue Retreat. Law enforcement in and of itself is an extremely rewarding job. And the act of being the enforcement arm of our laws, it's an honorable profession, and it's difficult. If you look it doesn't take you long to Google recent news and some of the rifts between people. Don't like being held accountable sometimes, and the manner in which they're held accountable, they usually take they're usually not happy with, and so. This job, historically in my career, I mean, I've been doing this for over 18 years now, and I've got a lot out of being a law enforcement officer. This was the first time for me to be able to step into a role where it wasn't just that, and it was bigger than that, and you're looking at a much bigger picture of trying to solve a problem that you historically can't solve with enforcement. Right? You can't solve homelessness with enforcement. Now, does that have a role? My personal belief is yes, there's a role of enforcement in that, but you can't solve it wholly with enforcement. And what we've started finding is that the more relationships that we built with people, the more time we took with people, the ability to free up officers from dispatched calls and create a specific team just to go out and build relationships. And sometimes that takes 2-3 weeks, a month, 2 months. We have people that we've been working with for months and months and months, and it takes that amount of time to build that relationship. And then eventually that trust is given and you're able to get somewhere with it. And that's super rewarding. I think that all of us on the Livability Team and all of the folks who work in that atmosphere, one of the things that we have in common is empathy. We really do care. And I think you see that with most police officers, specifically at the Medford Police Department. You see that a lot. You see a lot of empathy. But specifically with the Livability Team, that empathy really has given us a real sense of kind of belonging to the community. And I think that's been very, very rewarding for us. And for me specifically, personally, it's been very rewarding to watch people that we've dealt with in an enforcement capacity for years and years and years, and all of a sudden we take a different approach to them and we see results. So that's been huge for me.
Messenger RNA, or mRNA vaccines have been in development for more than 2 decades and are proven safe. Once fully vaccinated, the current COVID-19 vaccines are 94% effective at protecting people from COVID-19. Vaccines train our immune systems to create proteins that fight disease, known as antibodies, just as would happen when we are exposed to disease, but crucially, vaccines work without making us sick. mRNA vaccines do not affect your body's DNA. Getting vaccinated will help keep you, your family, and your community healthy and safe.
Well, that wraps up another episode of Life Skills. I'm glad that you were able to kind of meet Officer Kirkpatrick, and we have a really great partnership with the Livability Team, and they do a lot of great things for us, and we're so grateful to have them. So if you see Kirkpatrick, make sure to talk to him, and he's super friendly and easy to talk to. I realize that some of you might not know who I am. My name is Chris Janish. I do a lot of the marketing stuff here at Rogue Retreat, and I produce the Life Skills shows. So normally I'm behind the camera, but I'm kind of filling in a little bit for Susan as she's out of town right now. So sometimes I'll be in front of the camera. Usually I'm behind, but I'm sure you'll see me around the programs because I'm around and I'm doing stuff. So if you see me, feel free to say hi. I'd love to talk to you and hear about your stories, and who knows, maybe you'll be a participant feature on a future episode of Life Skills. So thanks for watching. I'm glad we got to have this episode and connect with Officer Kirkpatrick from the Livability Team, and have a great week.